Hello, good day, welcome back to my channel, and the purpose of today's video is to compare an ISA account with a regular savings account. Okay, so let's start with regular savings account because that's an easier concept. Simply put, it's an account where you put in money and after a year it well, sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's 6 months. It depends on the account that you choose. It matures, which means that it basically completes its time for the account to kind of like put interest into your savings. So, for example, if you have invested £100 um, and the account matures within 1 year, and the interest rate is, let's say, 10%, then you would have totaled £110. Okay? Now, the thing is, I think it depends on where you go, but after the account matures, so after a year, um, I think two things either happens. It depends on, who you go with, like which company, what bank, and all that. Two things may happen. One, you get to choose to continue using the same account, but the interest rate lowers, right? And they may change the name of the account, like it may be a different kind of account, or uh, you ask the bank or company to for you to apply for the account again, so you can have the same interest rate as before. Um, so uh, it depending on your options, a regular savings account can be considered as like a long-term way of saving, and I'll get to describe or explain what I mean by long-term in context to the all the options you have. So talking about the other side of the coin, which is ISA accounts. ISA accounts are basically accounts where um, it also has interest. It doesn't usually have as much interest compared to regular savings accounts. But the thing is that the advantage to a ISA account is that your interest, the interest that you get, so that extra £10 from your £100 of savings, if you had a 10% interest, um, that interest, that money from that interest does not get taxed, right? And that's the attractive thing about ISAs. But here's the thing, um, just to fully fledge out that point, um, yes, regular savings accounts do get taxed. Um, so the question is when you compare the two, when you compare ISAs to regular savings accounts, the question is that which one gives you more money? A higher interest regular savings account, compared to the ISA, or the ISA, which is tax free, compared to the regular savings account. So, in other words, um, do you make more money from your interest being taxed but having a higher interest compared to not having it being taxed but the rate is lower? So, this is the thing that I figured out. Okay, so here before we look at real examples of ISAs and regular savings accounts, look at let's answer those questions. So it depends on what tax band you are in, and it kind of depends on what interest you're looking at. Okay, so um, So imagine if you're in a basic tax band, which is 20%, which most of you are. Um, so, and imagine the ISA that you're looking at has an interest of 4.52%. Then the equivalent regular savings account interest rate that you would need, to be equivalent to that ISA, taking into consideration it being taxed, the regular savings account is 5.65%. Okay? So if you want a regular savings account that is better than a ISA account that has an ISA interest rate of 4.52%, then you need more than 5.65%. Right. That is pretty simple. I mean, when it comes to the higher tax band, which is 40%, again, the same interest rate for the ISA, 4.52%. The equivalent tax, the equivalent interest rate you need for the regular savings account is 7.53%. And if you were in a additional tax band, which is 45%, then you would need 8.22% within a regular savings account, for it to be equivalent to an ISA interest rate of 4.52%. Okay? So why did I, select or write down 4.52% for the ISA rate? Well, I think it's because from what I recall, the highest interest rate for a ISA, the best ISA basically that you can get on the market right now, and it's the 3rd of December 2025. The best ISA is trading 212 and it gives you 4.52%. There's a criteria for that, so just watch out for the criteria, but that is the case. Literally a month ago, Hargreaves Lansdown gave, a pretty good ISA, which was 4.55%, but they completely changed their website, and I think that's because, the web page, they completely changed it. I don't think they provide that interest rate anymore, unfortunately. But even so, this, the main purpose of this video is to answer the question, what's better, an ISA or a regular saver? And the answer is, we're over 8 minutes into the video, and I'll just give you the straight answer. The answer is a regular savings account. It is, for people who are in the basic tax band, the a regular savings account is better than the ISA, the best ISA. It depends on which regular savings account you're looking at. So let's just quickly look at the interest rates for the, let's call them the best regular savings accounts. Well, Principality, which is a building society, gives a regular savings account that is 7.5%. Okay. Progressive gives 7.7%. The second best is actually Zopa. It gives 7.1%. First Direct 7%. Cooperative Bank 7%. Nationwide 6.5%. That's good. I'll say a little bit more about how in terms of selecting regular savings accounts, because I have time to do that. I don't think I need another video to say that. Basically, it depends. When you choose a savings account, you first have to ask yourself, how much money do you have per month that you can save? Because you can save Because if you answer that question, then you know how much money you can put in into a savings account. And if you know that, then you can figure out which savings account is best for you. And what's best for you is going to be um, the savings account that gives you the highest amount of interest, but also the highest or the highest amount of maximum deposit that you're allowed to put in to the account per month. Like for example, Zopa, the maximum you're allowed to put in is £300 per month, right? But Lloyd's Bank is £400 per month, right? So even though Lloyd's Bank is 6.25% interest and Zopa is 7.1% interest, the if you've got, you know, at least £400 per month for savings, then really what you shouldn't just select Zopa, you should select Lloyd's Bank, because the interest that you would get is £161 per year. And that's if you you know, put in £400 per month, okay? And the maximum that you would get for Zopa is £137 per year, you know, if you put in £300 per month, okay? So, you know, I personally am I'm using other savings accounts right now, but in a month's time, I'm able to put more into my savings, and I'm going to be using like Lloyd's Bank, you know. So yeah, that's something that I just wanted to mention. Um, you know, how you think about in terms of how you think about regular savings accounts. You know, what's best for your circumstance. It depends on how much money you have, and also depends on your tax band, because um, you know, if you're in a higher tax band, then um, you know, I recommend using an ISA um, instead of a regular savings account. I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about today, to be honest. Um, you know, like I could make a short video on what's the best um, ISAs and what's the best regular savings, but I basically covered a lot of that today. Um, and it's very easy information to access. You just go on the website Money Saving Expert. They are quite up to date. You know, like this was updated on the 2nd of December, so literally yesterday. So, and they know their stuff. Um, you know, they're quite accurate with their information. I haven't seen any inaccuracies so far. Uh, so yeah, but if you'd like to know more about how to save, given your circumstance, then just watch my other videos. Um, if you're very poor, if you're a low income earner, that's a better way to say that, then I recommend using or Googling help to save, because the government literally gives you a savings account if you're on universal credit. And the bonus you get, which is kind of like saying interest, it's kind of the same thing, but the bonus you get is 50%. That's right, 50, you know, and that's crazy amount. That's just like hallelujah. Um, but you can only allowed to put in £50 per month, and you only get that bonus in your second year, right? So, you know, it's kind of like, because it's in your second year, then in terms of thinking of it as interest, it's equivalent to saying that you're getting 25% interest per year. But again, you only get the money in your second year. So you might as well say, I got 50% interest from my account, you know, within the past 2 years. That's another way of thinking or saying about it. Okay. Uh, I've got a little bit of time left, so you know, Principality. Google that. That's the best regular savings account. Progressive is also good, but the second best is Zopa. Okay. But that's in terms of interest rate. Again, you want to see how much money you can put in. So Lloyd's